Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. The voice is almost entirely back. We squeaked a little bit at the end there, but we're feeling good. We are looking good, and the Cubbies looked good tonight. Another win. They cap off a series victory over the Nationals with their 8-3 win here on Wednesday night. I am loose. He is Teddy Freddy 270, Mr. Tyler Edmonds. Tyler, before we talk anything baseball, my friend, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm coming off. Last weekend was the anniversary of the day that I crawled out of the womb. July 15th, 1990, the year of our Lord. I crawled out. I said, "Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do this thing." But yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you. It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, likewise, man. I was talking to Nick on last night's show, and I was like, yeah, we were on like a 10-day hiatus. Like, it felt like I hadn't spoken to any of you guys in ages. But it's good to be back. Two Cubs on Tap shows in a row, two victories that we're talking about here, Tyler. Obviously, this Cubs team fell on Monday night to the Nats. They come back last night. They even the series with a big win and an absolute throttling with that 17-3 victory. And then they take care of business tonight, albeit with adversity, because I don't think this Cubs team knows how to win without some kind of adversity in the game. They were up, then they were tied, then they were up, down, and all around, and then Nico Horner hit some fireworks to end the game. And let's start, Tyler, though, before we get to the bats, because I know everybody's itching to talk about the bats, and there's a lot worthy of being talked about. But how about Kyle Hendricks with a beautiful bounce back start? Little rough coming out of the break for him. He got rattled up there in that Boston game last Friday. But tonight, a beautiful 6-inning outing, 5 hits, just the 1 earned run given up. No walks, again, in control. This entire Cubs pitching staff did not walk a soul tonight, and 5 punch outs for the professor. Tell me, how good is it to see Kyle Hendricks bounce back after that outing on Friday?
Tonight's Kyle Hendricks was the Kyle Hendricks that we all know and love. The professor, the guy that we expect to see every fifth game out of him. And honestly, since before his previous start, other than that start, he really has been pretty solid ever since he's came back, ever since he returned from the IL. So yeah, it's very encouraging to see. At the same time, this time of the season, you get a little nervous, I guess, because you see Kyle Hendricks doing so well. You're like, oh, is he working himself into a tree? I don't know, but hey, love to see it. And the biggest thing out of all of it was 6 innings, no walks. Love it.
Absolutely love to see it. Scott says we're buyers again, so you don't have to worry about that, Tyler.
Yeah,
because hopefully that means the Cubs are buyers at the deadline. Nonetheless, you know what? I'm right there with you. Good to see Kyle bounce back. He lowers that ERA once again. He's now sitting at a 3.38 for the season. And then a lot of good work the rest of the way, at least from Daniel Palencia. Things got a little hairy there with Mark Leiter Jr. He went two-thirds of an inning, gave up the 1 hit, ultimately left the game, is credited with his 14th hold of the season. But Merriweather comes in, gives up the 2 earned there that ultimately tied the game in his 1 1/3 innings of work. And of course, he gets the blown save, but he also gets the win because of the Cubs coming back there with Palencia closing it down in the 9th inning. But let's talk about the bats. There's plenty of encouraging feats that occurred in this game tonight. And as Jeremiah originally said, he said, Mike, he meant to say Talkim is what he was looking for, because Mike Talkman.
Right, Jeremiah, sure.
was incredible tonight. Looked good last night as well when he came in the pinch situation for Trey Mancini. Ultimately stayed in the game, came through with a couple of base hits tonight, keeps it going. 3 for 4 was Mr. Talkman tonight. Drove in 3 of the Cubs runs, and for a while there had all 3 of the Cubs runs. Also walked once and scored twice. Just a complete effort from Talkman again. He's starting to look like the guy that was on that streak earlier this season, albeit Obviously hasn't been as consistent, but good to see that offense coming from the top of the lineup and a guy like Mike Talkman tonight, Tyler.
Oh yeah, you could almost say, other than Kyle Hendricks' 6-inning performance, he won this game. He basically won. I mean, I get it. Those 3 runs that he's responsible for wasn't the game-winning runs, but at the time, like, he's the reason that the Cubs are in this ball game. And yet, for a guy that's 32, 33 years old, that hasn't, it's nice to see a guy like that who's been around with the Rockies, the Yankees, maybe somebody else I'm missing, but it's nice to see a guy like that finally. He gets an opportunity, gets his chance, and so far, overall, he's been a productive hitter, productive center fielder for this team, and he's another guy that probably going to get talked about for the next week or two, or I guess it's 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
I don't know. He's another guy that may get bounced around here on the Cubs trade rumor mill for the next 2 weeks, and honestly, rightfully so. He's proved it so far this year. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to hear those trade rumors out of Mike Talkman. But yeah, the dude's been lights out for this team so far.
Yeah, and we've talked about a little bit, over the course of the last handful of weeks, right, that the Talkman season has been a little up and down too. Mm-hmm. And just like Jeremiah said here earlier, season's like a Morgan Wallen song, up, down, and it really does feel that way for this whole Cubs team. But really good to see a guy like Mike Talkman bounce back. I agree with you, Tyler. I mean, he has certainly earned himself a conversation to be had if the Cubs do indeed become sellers, because there are playoff teams out there that are going to look for a guy who hits from the left side, can deliver a little bit of power. He's not a huge power hitter by any stretch, but incredible on-base percentage. I mean, he was over 400 for a good portion of the season there.
And a guy you can trust him in a premier defensive spot as well.
Absolutely. And he can play all 3 outfield spots too. So the versatility, what he does at the plate, certainly a guy that I think people would be interested in, depending on what the fate of the Cubs is come the trade deadline. But a great night for him. 2 doubles, ultimately gets thrown out on the second one, the home run to lead off the game. And then Tyler, you mentioned he might not have driven in any of those, ultimately game-winning runs, but he did score one of them because he took the walk right before Nico, came up and took care of some fireworks. Let's get right into that, Tyler. Nico Hoerner, you'll love to see it. A guy that has had perhaps the weirdest statistical season that I can think of for a Cubs player in quite some time, because entering that at bat, his OPS was below 700. So statistically, you would look at that and say Nico Hoerner is not a good baseball player. Yet he leads this team in RBIs. He leads this team.
I think about 10 now with that grand slam. It might be almost 10.
I think you're right. I think it's pretty close. I think it might be 8, 8 or 9 after that grand slam. He's been such an interesting player because when he does get on base, he doesn't walk a ton. Most of his production comes from physically hitting the baseball, and he doesn't hit for a lot of slug. Changed that tonight though with that grand slam, but just comes through. He is such a clutch player. He makes the big defensive play when you need him. He steals the bag when you need him to. Leads this team in stolen bases. Tyler, I read an interesting statistic before the game from Marquee Sports Network that said there are only 4 players in baseball, or at least in the NL, pardon me, right now with, I believe it's 50 runs scored, 50 RBI, and 20 stolen bags. And like the other 3 are like MVP candidates.
One's got to be Ronald.
One is Mr. Acuna. Yes, one is Mr. Acuna. I'm going to get the stat here, but just Tyler, just the grand slam tonight was the final grand finale of just how important I think Nico Hoerner is to this team. Even though you look at his stat line and be like, he's not that great of a player, but yet he is.
We've talked about it. We talked about it even before the season. All of us, like, Nico Hoerner is the heartbeat of this team, and like you said, his stats may not show all that, but you watch him play every single day. Hell, he's taken over shorts, and this has been one of the things we've been saying as far as the reason he's so important to this team is his versatility in another premier spot in shortstop. He's done it every single night. Like you watch the guy play, and you just know, like, yeah, maybe his slug's not all the way there. Maybe his OPS isn't all the way right there. But like, he is this team. This is his team, and I'm not. I'll be honest, him coming through. I was a little surprised about the grand slam, but I'm not surprised he came through in that bases loaded situation because, like we've said, the dude leads the team in RBI, and it's not surprising. It's really not, because once again, we've preached on this all year long. Like Nico Horner is arguably one of the most underrated players in baseball. He really is, in my opinion.
No, I absolutely second what you had to say there. In confirming your point from a little bit earlier here, Tyler. Yes, Nico Horner now leads the Cubs in RBIs by actually more than 10. He actually leads by 12. Ian Happ with 42 is second on this team.
And
Nico
has
Horner
what, six home runs?
6 home runs, yeah, does Nico Horner with 54 runs driven in. Ian Happ 8 with 42, and then Christopher Morel has 15 with 41 for this Cubs team as your top 3. And yes, Scott pulled it up. I had it up ready to roll as well. 4 players in the NL with 50 plus runs, 50 plus RBI, 20 plus stolen bags. They are Ronald Acuna Jr., Corbin Carroll, Christian Yelich, and 1 Nico Horner. Thanks, Scott, for the assist there as well, buddy. It just goes to show, man. I mean, and to your point, right? Yes, Rossi said today that Dansby's expected back for this upcoming Cardinals series, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But to your point, Nico asked to shift over again to short. Yes, he played there last year, but he only played 1 season at shortstop, and again can move around the yard when you need him to. I think the most impressive thing about Horner is just that he's a very complete baseball player. Like he can show the slug. We've seen the flirtation of the slug. I truly just don't think that's his approach is to slug, because he's got the strength. We've seen him do it. He did it tonight. But I think he likes to be that line drive hitter. Like that to me is Nico Horner. He is the line drive guy. He wants to put it in the gap, right? He wants to use his speed. Hell, before that home run tonight, he only had 1 less triple than he did home runs for the season so far. He's got 4 triples on the year. It just goes to show the type of player Nico Horner is. He's so versatile. He's good on the base paths. He's good defensively with the mitt. He's good at the plate. And again, I can't sell it enough. He is so clutch in situations with runners on. I remember over the weekend, I want to say it was Sunday's game when I was watching against the Red Sox. They put up a graphic of Nico Horner's splits, and it was with no one on, with just runners on first base, and then runners in scoring position. From no one on to runners in scoring position, it was like a 125-point difference in his batting average. He was like a 360 hitter with runners in scoring position versus like a 240 hitter when nobody's on base. The guy lives to be in that spot. Like, I think it is weird as it is that we all said coming into the season, oh, Nico Horner's gonna, he's gonna be your leadoff hitter. And he does. He has all the characteristics to make up your leadoff hitter. But son of a bitch, there's something wider in that dude's brain that, like, he's meant to drive in runs. Like, that's what he's been doing all season long. And I almost would advocate for moving him a little bit down the lineup. I like him in the 2-hole. I'm not saying take him out of there. But, yeah, I think he would look okay in the 3-hole.
Why not? At least why not try it?
Yeah, especially with, you've got a guy like Talkman who has shown when he's in the lineup, he looks really good in that leadoff spot, looks comfortable in that leadoff spot. Yeah. Maybe that's good for a guy like Ian Happ. Maybe you move a guy like Ian Happ up into the 2-hole to try and get something going, or Seiya Suzuki. Yeah. Somebody like that who maybe almost if they're playing well and they get on base, Nico Horner's probably going to drive him in.
He's probably going to drive him in, yeah. And to kind of repeat what you've said earlier this year, I think we all sometimes forget. Technically, isn't he only in his like 3rd full major league season?
I can tell you that right now. Nico Horner career has only played 334 games. So yeah,
So just over
that
two,
is just
just over two full seasons.
yeah, like two seasons and like 40 games,
Yeah.
or not even two
And I think you can
seasons
argue
and
that of
30 20 games.
out of all the contracts, extensions, or just contracts in general, you could argue that so far, maybe other than the Bellinger contract, this has been the best signing of this past offseason. Signing slash extension. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say you could probably put Dansby pretty close to that too,
Yeah.
just from what he's brought. Because I truly believe, I don't think it's been talked about enough. I think the Cubs severely missed Dansby in this
Mhm.
latest stretch when he's been out with the heel contusion.
Yeah.
I think that went severely undersold. I'm going to try and get thoughts pen to paper in the next 24 hours on that because I think it's really important. But I agreed with you. I think, especially I told Nick yesterday I went hard in on Nico, or pardon me, on Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki, of like, hey, what the fuck's going on? And then
Yeah.
as our clip from the pod showed last night, um, the Cubs listen to Cubs on Tap consistently because of course both of them go spit in my face and have great games last night.
Yeah.
And truly they kind of followed that up again today, you know, albeit Hap was 0 for 4, but Seiya was 2 for 3 with a walk. At least he's starting to look like he's maybe turning it around a little bit. Quickly to the Nico Horner point on games, Tyler. If assuming a player plays a full 162, Nico Horner is actually 2 seasons and like literally 10 games. So he'd be 10
That just
games into
makes it
his
more
third
impressive.
season of baseball.
Yeah.
It really goes to show how much, the adversity because of injuries and stuff that he's battled, but also just how he's settled into his role now with this Cubs team and has really taken over as such an important player for the team. I agree. I think the Cubs the Cubs are built up the middle this season, truthfully, in every facet. Bellinger's your best offensive back consistently right now, the way this season has gone in center field. Talkman, as your second guy in center, has been fantastic. You said Nico is the lifeblood of this Cubs team. Dansby is probably one of the unquestioned leaders of this Cubs team. Those are your guys up the middle, and they're for sure the best looking double play duo in baseball, but they might be the best double play duo in baseball. And then Jan Gomes has been a splendid surprise at the dish. And then you're getting it from all three catchers in terms of just contribution, whether it's defensively. Amaya's been good at the plate as well, and then the pitching staff. Outside of a really rattled Jameson Tyone and 2 bad months of Drew Smiley, the starting pitching has been probably the brightest spot of this team, especially for Marcus Stroman and Justin Steele. So it's really
If you
fascinating.
looked at what you just said, if you looked at that on a list, if you had that on a list, you'd be like, before you even looked at this team's record, before you looked at the standings, you would think, oh, man, we must be in it. And then you say just what you said, which I agree with. And then you turn around and look at the standings, and it's just like, Jesus.
It's like, well, shit.
Yeah.
No, I agree wholeheartedly there with you, man. Unfortunately, the Brewers and the Reds both won tonight, so the Cubs don't make up any room in the divisional race either. Still 7.5 out with the win tonight. Ultimately, though, I think what makes the upcoming series that much more important, Tyler. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. Just rattling off a couple more of numbers from this game tonight. Cody Bellinger continues to be perhaps the hottest player in baseball.
Lights out again.
2 hits tonight. He is now up to a 311 batting average and an 894 OPS. So he is quickly approaching that 900 mark. I'm going to let you sound off on him here in a second because of your tagline, extend belly or we riot. I completely agree, but I will give you the floor here in just a hot second. Just another guy I want to bring up, Seiya Suzuki. I mentioned him earlier, 2 for 3 with a run scored and a walk. Good to see Seiya. I pray Seiya gets his shit together. That is the number one guy they need right now. If this team is not going to be total sellers at the trade deadline, they need him to be really good for these next 2 weeks or so. And then Miles Mastroboni. How about it? 2 days in a row now. Put down a big bunt in tonight's game for a hit. He was 2 for 4, 2 runs scored. He's not the greatest player, but it's nice seeing him step up and do something. But Tyler, let's talk about Cody real quick. I
Yeah,
want to give you the floor here. I mean, belly bombs, extend them or we riot, right?
exactly. Like if you look if you look at next season, there is nobody that's going to be available that has the production that Cody Bellinger has given this team this season. We were all talking at the beginning of the year. Hell, me and Juice talked about it on opening day in the bleachers. He pointed like Bellinger was up and he looked at me and he said, I hope this is not a mistake. I'm afraid this is going to be a mistake. I hope I'm not. We're not sitting here talking about this halfway through the season like Jesus Christ. Now we are saying that about a guy like Trey Mancini, but whatever. But comfortable. I'm going to butcher this word. Comfortability. There we go. Is huge. Cody Bellinger is comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sometimes they say a change of scenery is nice. A change of scenery is what's needed. He did that, and look what's happened. He's figured it out. Is he a 20? Is he back to his 2018 MVP form? I don't. I don't know about that, but I like the form he has right now. I don't think this. I hear this word stretch. Stretch. He's on this stretch. I don't think it's a stretch. I think it's who he is. I think this is. I think this is who he is as a hitter. I think this is who he is as a player. You can trust him in center. You can play him at first. So that still gives you the ability to go out and get whoever else you want. Maybe you want to go after Juan Soto after next year. That's fine. Go ahead. We'll just put Bellinger at first base. But for the love of God, if you're wanting to be this, because this is the third straight season, we all know it. This is the third straight season that we've had to have these conversations, basically right about this time of year. Oh, who are we trading? Who are we getting rid of? Oh, I can't wait to hear what ownership's going to say now. Like, oh, we're going to be competitors next year. We're trading our assets so we can be competitors next year. And we're going to be a competitive team for the next few seasons. And that shit has got you nowhere. I don't want to hear that. I don't even if they decide to trade everybody this trade deadline, I don't want a wrote out, typed out top speech. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear nothing then, because we all know what you do. We all know what's going on. But with that being said, why the hell, if you want to compete in this, let's be honest, weak ass division, it's open. It's so open. It really is. I know the Brewers are ahead right now that's because they've, we haven't came through like we should have this season. But like, Jesus, it's right there. Losing Cody Bellinger, that's the opposite direction. It really is. So, yeah, extend Cody Bellinger or we riot. I'm going to take all of my dog's poop that I've scooped and I'm putting it on ownership's doorstep and I'm lighting it on fire. I'm doing it. I'm not really doing that. Everybody that's listening, please don't do that. But you know what I mean. So yeah, Cody Bellinger, extend the man. He's happy. I know everyone keeps saying, but he could get traded to New York. He doesn't want to do. You don't want to do that, Cody. You don't. You don't. I know our guy who said it in the comment brought up Mike Tauchman. I can see Mike Tauchman back in New York, but Cody, you don't want to do that. So yeah, extend him. It just makes the most sense.
Yeah, Jeremiah said, "LOL, watch the Yankees trade for Talkman instead of Cody."
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm right there with you, man. Jeremiah says here, he says, extend Belly, play him at first, call it PCA. And that's the thing, too. I know everybody's very excited about PCA, but, to your point, Tyler, right? There is nothing out there that isn't named Shohei Ohtani
No.
that makes this Cubs team better offensively than what you have in Cody Bellinger right now. Like, that's just the nature of the beast. He has been incredible. And actually, when you look at his numbers, he's actually got currently a better batting average than he did that MVP season. Obviously,
Mhm.
he played 156 games in that MVP season, so take that for what it is. But in 64 games so far this year, he's slashing 311, 367, 527. He was slashing 305, 406, 629 in that MVP year. Obviously, the slug, the RBIs, the home runs were all up because he was hitting in more of those advantageous spots to drive in runs. And obviously, he was playing on an incredible Dodgers team in 2019. But even for this year for the Cubs, he's got 12 bombs. That is already on pace to smash what he did last year, which was 19 in 144 games with the Dodgers. This year, he's probably only going to get to about that 130 mark because of the amount of games he missed. So, I mean, he has been incredible. And yeah, he's hot. I mean, he's been
And
good, but he's
back
hot
to
because
2018, he was protected in that lineup. Let's be honest.
true.
He was protected in a stacked Dodgers lineup.
No, he really was. That's a good point. So, I mean, there was no protection in this Cubs lineup for Cody Bellinger. He's the protector
Yeah.
on a lot of nights. But you mentioned the run, right, Tyler? And everybody's, he's on a run. Yeah, he is on a run. In his last 7 games, he's slashing 423, 483, 808 with 3 bombs. His last 15, he's got 5 homers, 456, 492, 772 slash. But over his last 30 games, he's still slashing 339, 375, 523. So he has been consistent. This is not just a 2 to 3 week run. He's been that good really since he's gotten fully healthy, I think, ever since coming off the IL. Jeremiah says the rumors about Bellinger to the Astros are disgusting.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Joey Cota, our good co-host and friend here, says Michael Comfortable, a classic Joey dad joke on a Wednesday night. And Jeremiah wonders where's Joey. Jeremiah, I got an answer for you. We lay out our schedules at the beginning of the week, and we try to set up who's going to be on the shows on what nights. And Joey just never told us. So your concern of hashtag Where's Joey is the same concern I have of hashtag Where's Joey. For all I know, he could be in another country right now watching this from abroad. I don't know where Joey is. Where will we find him? Who knows? But we'll do our damnedest. Tyler, before we look ahead, final thoughts on the series as a whole, on tonight's game, on anything that's on your mind.
Had to win these last 2. If there's going to be any kind of run, had to have won these last 2. Other than that, I noticed you did bring up Shohei Ohtani. Let's talk about Ohtani real quick. I believe it was Japan's national high school baseball team or whatever was at the game tonight. Maybe there's something there. Maybe. Probably not. But hey, whatever. Who knows? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to get Ohtani over here. It's not going to happen, but whatever. Got to do what you got to do, I guess.
I recommend every Cubs fan go out and do a classic Chicago handshake the next time you go to the bar, in honor of trying to get Shohei Ohtani. For those that don't know what a Chicago handshake is, that would be a good old classic Malort and old style. So go out, do it, and just send the good juju into the atmosphere for Mr. Shohei Ohtani. Maybe we get Seiya to do it as well. It says they probably there for Seiya, LOL. And Joey says that's my bad. Joey is incognito. So it's not Joey Ricotta, it's Joey Incognito. Just different ending different ending vowel words for Mr. Ricotta here tonight. One quick comment from the man, the myth, the Lefevre Fever, Mr. Brian Lefevre here. Says when the Cubs trade Belly, they have Dominic Fletcher and Slade Kessoni for Stroman and Leiter Jr. And he's talking about the Diamondbacks. Our boy Brian, a very avid Diamondbacks fan. Big Chicago sports fan in his own right, but a family connection there keeps him tied to Arizona. Yeah, I mean, those are 2 good names, but I really don't want to see Stroh go either. I don't want to talk about it right now. I know we're going to have to talk about it more. I'm sad. But again, to your point, Tyler, they needed these 2. They got them. They got a series win. That's exactly what they need. That's good. But don't be satisfied. Don't stop now. Keep shit going. And we'll see how things go. Joey wants to know, can someone explain to me, I don't know how to pronounce Bocce, Why Mancini keeps getting put in the lineup? Great question. I don't think we know either. I'm ready to fire him to the
Let's
sun.
just
And
put it real. I guess still speaking of tonight's game, can we just give Mancini like an extended vacation? Just let him go home.
or just let him go sit on a beach for 2 weeks.
Yeah, just
Whatever it
let
takes.
him.
And Mervis is raking right now too in
Of
AAA. So
course.
it warrants at least the conversation of, is that move valid at this point? An old friend of the program, Mr. Alap here, says, hello, gents. Been a minute. Go Cubs. Hopefully Joey is pronouncing words correctly. He's never pronouncing words correctly, but that's what makes Joey Joey. Tyler, let's go ahead and let's look forward to what's on the schedule here for the Cubbies coming up, because it is a doozy on the horizon here. A 4-game set against the Cardinals right here at home. This will be the first 4 of 8 games with the Cardinals in the next calendar, I believe it's 11 days. They have a 4-game set in St. Louis that actually begins a week from tomorrow on Thursday. That is bookended by an off day and 2 games with the shitbag Southsiders on Tuesday and Wednesday at that garbage that sits right off of 9094 south of the Loop. If you've ever been through the city of Chicago,
Yeah, I hear
um,
they call it the toilet bowl down there.
the toilet bowl, they used to call it the cell. Um, Now they have a down arrow on their stadium. They guarantee rates. I call it the G spot because I think that's funny. Got that from a couple of friends of mine that used to work at the stadium. It's the G spot, but in order to find the G spot, you got to win in order to find the G spot. I don't think that
Oh,
any of
that
these White
yeah.
Sox players have done that. So, sorry to you, they're not getting it done. But speaking back to this 4-game set here with the Cardinals. It is 4 at Wrigley as the Cubs wait. It's a 7:05 start on Thursday, and then they will play day games through the rest of the weekend. All 120 starts as usual here at Wrigley Field. It will be the 0-7 Steven Matz on the bump for the shitbag
Mm,
Cardinals. He's got a 4.86 ERA coming into this one. And for the Cubbies, the Stroh show is back. Marcus Stroman 10-6 on the season with a 2.88 ERA, and he has hit over 100 Ks for the year. Marquee Sports Network, Bally Sports Midwest, you know the drill. This will also be on MLB Network for those out of market. Tyler, what's it going to take? What do the Cubs need to do in this 4-game set coming up with the Cardinals, specifically tomorrow, to get things off on the right foot?
Well, tomorrow for the next 2 days, I mean, I don't know, give Stroman and Steele 3 or 4 runs. That'll be about all they need. But Ron, I hate to bring it up, but this could possibly be Stroman's last start in a Cubs uniform. So, guys, get your jerseys out if you got them. Put them on. Enjoy it. He's gonna dominate. I mean, he really is. I mean, look at that. When you look at that lineup, you've got uh, nobody really. Uh, their owners done said, "Hey, we're selling." So that's all you need to know about that. They're even their owner knows they're done. It's over. You've got a guy that's I don't know if he's a catcher. I don't know if he's a DH. To be honest, even announced once that this was the saddest moment in his baseball career was playing for that team. So I won't even say his name, but yeah, this could be it. I hate to say it. I really hate to say it, but once again, going back to what I was saying earlier, if they want any kind of run at all, you've got to take at least 3 or 4 right here, and they've got to be convincing against a last place St. Louis team. Have to be, and I don't even know if that'll do it, but has to
Yeah.
has to be that.
Unfortunately, this St. Louis team has climbed themselves out of the basement. The Pirates now occupy that spot.
Oh yeah,
But Cardinals are 8-2 in their last 10 and have won 5 in a row. So it's a hot Cardinals team coming to Wrigley, of course, too, because they
of
could
course
play
it is.
spoiler naturally for the Cubs here. I hope they don't. Certainly a lineup or a pitching matchup, pardon me, I think that favors the Cubs tomorrow with Matz on the bump. the Cubs need to get it done one game at a time. They need this one. I did do the math. Tyler Stroman could make another start if he's
He
not
could make
traded
one more,
until the
yeah.
deadline. And I might venture down to the south side because he would line up to be the starter in that second game against the White Sox. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Scott's saying looking for the Cubs to win 8 of the next 10 to stay buyers. It's probably about right. They've got to be really good. They've got to be really good. It all starts tomorrow. You got to get one at a time. Like you said, Stroh's going to come out. Stroh's going to Stroh. We're going to get the Stroh show at Wrigley Field. And I hope he's sensational as always, and they come out with a W. We'll keep it real simple there. Tyler, a quick fly the W pick before we start to break this thing down for this coming Cardinals series.
Fly the W pick. I'm rolling with Belly. I'm rolling with Billy. He hasn't had a home run in what, a day?
Something like that.
Yeah, he's due.
He's due. He's due for another one. I'm going to go a little bit off the board. I think a guy that in totality has cooled off a little bit. Had a really good game tonight, though. I don't think anybody really talked about it. Took 2 walks, which looks really weird for this guy. But that shows a lot of grown plate discipline and a little bit of a different player than what we saw a year ago. And I think if this Cubs team, yes, Sea's turning it around and looking better. They had a big game out of Happ. I think they need to keep getting those out of Happ. But a guy that can be a real diamond in the rough and kind of wild card here, I'm going to go Christopher Morel. It's my W player.
Okay, I like that.
For this coming series. A couple of quick comments here, Tyler, before we start to wrap this thing up. Brian says, honestly, I think it'll be a soft sell. I hope he's right.
Yeah.
Alap says, is Wainwright pitching in the series have feasts against him?
He is.
I don't think he is either, but one can hope.
Sunday is, I believe Sunday's Jordan Montgomery, and then you've got Miles Michaelis or whatever his stupid name is. And
does Flaherty throw on Friday? Yeah.
Flaherty throw. Yeah, Flaherty throws Friday. It's Flaherty and Steele, and then who am I? Yeah. Who am I missing? Oh well, but yeah, I don't think Wainwright's throwing.
That's unfortunate. I agree. I would love to see Ian Happ tee him up and tee off on him. Jeremiah is very, very bold here. Mancini goes 5 for 5 tomorrow. He's calling it. We'll see if he's even in the lineup. And then Joey wants to know, Tyler, we need a Marcus Stroman WWE promo for an I Quit match versus Hoyer. That'll be your homework, my friend. That is your wheelhouse, not mine. Scott coming back saying Wainwright is hurt. So we appreciate that information. Tyler, before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody, Cubs on Tap, one of 2 official Cubs podcasts here at the On Tap Sports Network. Check out our friends over at Dingers. They were live on Monday night. You can find them at Dinger Cubs on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find all of their replays here on our YouTube for the On Tap Sports Network. You can also find it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Be sure to follow us as well. Subscribe, like us. You know the drill at Cubbies on Tap on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Loose on Tap. He's Teddy Freddy 270. Follow all the other boys as well. Juice at Juice on Tap, at Nick _ on Tap, at Joey Knows Nothing. And remember, at Bulls Guy Rob is our prospect guy. Give him some love and appreciation as well. You know the drill. Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks. We got it all. Thank God 2 of those teams are 2 teams I cover, and they look more promising because I've been tortured all summer by this baseball team. I don't see it neither here nor there. But speaking of people who like to be tortured, if you got friends like our friends that like the Southsiders, send your friends to our friends over at Sox on Tap, as they do a great job covering the Chicago White Sox, albeit in a painful fashion. You guys know the drill. OnTapSportsNet.com, at OnTapSportsNet on social media, On Tap Sportsnet. Go and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Tyler, it's always a pleasure, my friend, doing a show with you. Cubs get a big win tonight. That caps off a series victory over the Washington Nationals. A 4-game set starts tomorrow with the Cardinals. Then the Cubs are on the road, 2 with the White Sox starting on Tuesday after an off day, 4 with the Cardinals in St. Louis. And that takes us pretty much into the trade deadline. They will get 1 game in with the Reds on the 31st before the August 1st deadline. But that is a 4-game set starting back at Wrigley for this Cubs team. My friend, what do you say? We out of here the only way we know how? At Cubs on Tap?
Fuck the Cardinals.
Especially right now.
Right now.
Let's go Cubbies.